Here's a question. When installing software, how often do you actually change the default settings? Most people don't, because defaults feel like recommendations. Companies know this. Streaming platforms enable autoplay. Browsers encourage default search engines. Phone manufacturers pre-select certain features. Subscription renewals are often enabled automatically. Changing the setting requires effort. Leaving it alone requires nothing. And surprisingly often, people choose nothing. Not because it's better, because it's easier. You'd think more options would make people happier. In reality, too many choices often lead to no decision at all. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. Walk into a restaurant with 12 menu items. Ordering is easy. Walk into one with 200. Suddenly, everything feels overwhelming. Companies like Costco intentionally carry far fewer product variations than many competitors in several categories. Fewer choices reduce decision fatigue, which makes buying easier. Sometimes, less really does sell more. Here's something fascinating. People consistently value things more when they help create them. IKEA customers spend hours assembling furniture, yet once it's finished, many people become emotionally attached to it because they built it. The same psychology appears in apps. Create your own playlist on Spotify, design your own sneakers, customize your gaming character, build your own PC. The more effort you invest, the more valuable the final product feels. Ownership isn't only about buying. Sometimes it's about building. Imagine I hand you a coffee mug. 5 minutes later, I ask if you'd sell it. Most people demand far more money than they'd have been willing to pay before owning it. Ownership changes value. That's called the Endowment Effect. Car dealerships encourage test drives. Mattress companies offer 100-night trials. Apple encourages customers to spend time using products in stores. Once your brain begins imagining something as mine, giving it back suddenly feels like losing something valuable. And remember, our brains hate losses. Notice something interesting? Every technique we've explored seems completely different. Anchoring, scarcity, social proof, framing, commitment, defaults, ownership. But underneath, they're all exploiting the same hidden operating system inside your brain. And in today's world, artificial intelligence is making that operating system more predictable than ever before. But here's the question that really matters. If companies know how our minds work, does that mean we're powerless? Not even close. One of the biggest misconceptions about marketing is believing that awareness makes you immune. It doesn't. Even psychologists fall for psychological biases. Even economists experience loss aversion. Even marketers respond to scarcity. These shortcuts aren't flaws. They're features of being human. The goal isn't to eliminate them. That's impossible. The goal is to recognize them before they make the decision for you. Think about it this way. Imagine you're driving during heavy rain. You can't stop the rain, but knowing the road is slippery changes how you drive. Psychology works the same way. Understanding these techniques won't make them disappear, but it gives you something incredibly valuable. A pause. Just a few seconds between impulse and action. And sometimes, those few seconds are enough to completely change a decision. So, the next time you're shopping online and you see only 2 left, pause. Ask yourself, is this genuine scarcity or manufactured urgency? When a subscription suddenly feels impossible to cancel, ask, do I still want this, or am I just avoiding the feeling of loss? When the premium version suddenly seems like incredible value, ask, did I actually compare the options, or did someone compare them for me? When thousands of glowing reviews convince you instantly, ask, am I evaluating the product or following the crowd? When an expensive item suddenly feels affordable, ask yourself one final question. Compared to what? Because comparison is where many buying decisions quietly begin. And here's the surprising part. The exact same psychology that sells you products can also improve your life. Want to build better habits? Use commitment bias. Trying to save money? Protect yourself against loss aversion. Building a business? Understand framing. Designing an app? Reduce choice overload. Helping people make healthier decisions? Choose better defaults. Psychology itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool. Like fire, it can warm a home or burn it down. Its impact depends entirely on how it's used. The next time you walk through a supermarket, browse Amazon, upgrade your phone, or subscribe to another streaming service, remember this: you're not just looking at products, you're looking at decades of behavioral science, thousands of A/B tests, millions of data points, psychology, economics, design, artificial intelligence, all working together to compete for one thing: your attention, and ultimately, your decision. But here's the good news. The moment you begin noticing these patterns, they lose some of their power. Not all of it, but enough to help you make decisions that are truly yours. Because the smartest consumers aren't the ones who never get influenced. They're the ones who know when influence is happening. And once you see the invisible system, you can't unsee it. The next move is yours.